What's up, y'all, and welcome back to my series, Flipping for a Hasselblad. It's not really a series, it's a two-parter. I'm gonna tell you guys that I got the hassey, basically. Look at her, sitting up there. You saw the start, okay? You saw the first week. You saw my strategy going into raising money to buy a Hasselblad 500C, or CM. I ended up getting a C though. So, very happy that I got the camera, and I'm gonna show you guys how I completed the task, how I accomplished the mission, how I drove in the paint, put it on the floor, and finished at the rim. I'm only 5'3", so I wouldn't really be finishing at the rim, below the rim, but with a smooth flair about it. I got the camera, is what it all comes down to, and here's how I do it. So when I left you guys off, I've been flipping for a total of 1 week, and I had made a total of pow. So I felt like I was off to a good start. I didn't think it was going to take me that long to buy the camera of my dreams. Oh, my dreams is strong. But the camera that I really wanted. If you didn't watch part 1 of my Flipping for a Hassey 2-part series, please check it out. Here's the link up here. It will show you my game plan getting into this thing and let you know some of the items that I sold off to get this thing started. The whole point of me flipping for this Hasselblad is because I didn't want to be spending new money on a camera. I had so many things in my house that I wasn't using, that I needed to make space to get on out of here, and I really wanted this camera. So with that in mind, I had a bit of motivation, a bit of fire underneath me to hustle hard and to actually go about getting this camera at a decent price. At the time, in spring of 2020, Hasselblad 500s were going for around $1,300 to $1,500. Today, at the end of 2020, beginning of 2021, that is drastically different. Here's the trend right now on eBay. As I said before in one of my videos, how to buy cameras on eBay, put that there. When you buy cameras matter. You have to be paying attention, following trends, noticing the ups and the downs, the highs and the lows, so that way you can get in there when it's at a low and save some money. And sell at a high if you're looking to make money. So with that in mind, I knew I had to be quick to go about getting this Hasselblad because I didn't want to finally have the money and it not be enough money because it was currently on an incline, which could happen and has happened before to me in the past. Sticking with my theme of selling things that were not camera related, here are other items that I let go of. Yeah, I sold a number of different items because I really did not want to have to sell cameras that I actually liked. Even though I had a surplus of cameras during the spring of last year, a lot of them I had bought because I was drawn to them, I had a connection to them, I had been using them a lot at one period of time, and I had slowed down using them at that time. So if I could, I didn't want to end up selling off like the majority of my collection just to get one camera, because that's crazy to me. Crazy! Instead, I had a bunch of other stuff I could sell off, and that's what I did. And I recommend that's what you do as well if you are looking to raise money to get a film camera, or any camera for that matter. More often than not, we typically have things in our house that we're just not using anymore, things that we never used in the first place. I know it's tough to give away gifts, but sometimes people buy you gifts that you just don't want and that you aren't going to use, so you have that sitting in your house as well, just taking up space. So you got to sell that stuff off too. I know for me, I had quite a few items that were sitting around not getting used for quite a long time, and it was time to offload these things so that I could make room for the new things that I wanted in my life. This Hasselblad. So with all of my non-camera related items being whittled down, sold off, I now had to move over to my camera inventory. And it hurts sometimes to get rid of cameras and lenses that you once had a strong connection to that you now don't use as much. And I am like everyone else. I have to fight the urge to hoard. I don't like to have so many cameras in my possession that I don't use. Like, I think cameras should be used. They're tools, they're already old. Like, use them while you still can, because these cameras meant so much to me at the time that I bought them. I want to do something special for them. I wanted to let them know that their sacrifices were not in vain. That me selling them off did not mean that I no longer cared deeply about them and the connection that we had while I was using them. This was for you, my fallen cameras of 2020.
Although we've come to the end of the road, still I can't let go. It's unnatural. You belong to me, I belong to you. Come to the end of the road, still I can't let go. It's unnatural. You belong to me. I belong to you. Come to the end of the road. Still I can't let go. You belong to me. I belong to you. Come to the end of the road. Still I can't let go. You belong to me. I belong to you. You belong to me. I belong to you. Come to the end of the road. Still I can't let go. You belong to me. I belong to you.
So when it was all said and done, and I sold off these cameras and lenses and added to the total from the first week of sales, I had this much altogether. And then life happened. Sometimes you get lucky in life and you can find a camera that you want for a slightly cheaper price, but this typically comes with something wrong with the camera, right? It has an issue, it has a small flaw, or a big flaw that the seller leads you to believe is a small flaw. Either way, you're treading in murky waters. And you don't want that. But nonetheless, I found myself in a situation. Picture it. It's April. Spring is blossoming. Flowers are going on. And I can see summer on the horizon. And I know I want to be out there making photos on a hassey. I know this in my heart. My spirit speaking to me at this point. So I say to myself, all right, let me start looking. I got my eBay alerts going. I'm checking different platforms here and there. I check KEH. I'm checking the different websites. I'm alert. I'm attuned. My finger is on the pulse of where the Hasselblad might be. I'm ready. And then I stopped by my local camera repair store, Walters, the sponsor of this video. And speaking of, let me go ahead and roll that. This video is sponsored by Walters Camera Repair. And if you have a camera in need of servicing or repair, make Walters your go-to shop for quality and fair pricing. Website in the description below, and tell them Talya sent you. I stopped by Walters and I'm talking to the owner, letting him know I'm getting closer and closer to my goal of getting my Hasselblad. And he tells me that he himself is selling off a bunch of cameras because he too wants to buy something that's quite expensive. For him, it's a classic Mercedes. For me, it's a Hasselblad. Priorities. However, because I've known this owner for years, and at this point I've been talking about the Hasselblad for like 4 months non-stop, I knew he had a Hasselblad in his possession. So I had to ask, you selling that Hasselblad? And he said, I am. And the heavens opened up and I heard the song that meant that camera was meant to be mine. Couldn't believe it. I was so ecstatic. The Hasselblad was not the only camera that he was selling off during the spring. While he was doing his spring cleaning, he sold off a Mamiya 6, Mamiya RZ67. He sold off a Pentax 6.7. He sold off all kinds of cameras, Leicas. It was going off. And me being the helper that I am, I posted all this to my Instagram stories, to my followers, to let them know if they wanted these cameras themselves, they could purchase them. And these cameras didn't last the weekend once I was blasting it everywhere. So I normally don't promote my Instagram account because I don't feel like I'm as active on there. But then again, I haven't been that active on here either. But I do post to my stories and I do let people know when I have my pulse on a deal for cameras, film, events, what have you. So if you want to, give me a follow, check it out. Once I helped him sell off all his other cameras, I asked him to put a pause on that Hasselblad. You see, I was still a little bit short. And I asked him how much he wanted for it. And he told me to make him an offer. Now here's the thing with friends, man. Friends and people you respect, you don't want to lowball them because you feel guilty. At least I do. I'm not like I feel guilty. I couldn't lowball him and be like, all right, here's $1,000 because I knew that would be wrong. I knew I'd be shortchanging him. I wanted to give him a price that was within my original expected price to pay for a Hasselblad, between $1,300 and $1,500. And I knew that he didn't want to hold on to the camera for too long. So what I did was I threw in a lens that I didn't expect to sell. I threw in my Pentax 6.7 75mm lens. At this point in time, around April of 2020, wrong year. Why have I been saying 2020 this whole time? That's unfortunate. April of 2021, the Pentax 6.7 75mm Takumaro lens was going for around $250 to $300 on eBay. So I threw in that lens for him. A lens that he added to his Pentax 6x7 system when he was selling it. He sold like 2 Pentax 6.7, so he added that to one of the packages. And we called it even. I was ecstatic, over the moon, overjoyed. In the end, I ended up getting the camera from someone I knew, which is the best. And someone I knew happens to be a camera repairman, which means whenever it's broken or I have problems, I just take it to him and he fixes it. Look at God, won't he do it? So yeah, this really worked out for me. The Hasselblad I ended up getting came with a 645 back. I don't know if you can read it here, but yeah, 645 back. Came with the light meter film advance here. It's a light. I don't really use it that much because I'm typically taking portraits, and I like to spot meter when I take portraits because I have had some experiences. Got this 80mm lens on it because that's what she did. My extra back here is a 6x6 back, traditional 6x6 back, traditional 12 frames. So yeah, I got my Hasselblad 500C. I'm very excited. I'm happy that I didn't go out and spend a bunch of new money on an old camera. So that for me was a hip hip, you know, and I'm happy that I was able to accomplish my goal so fast. I ended up copying this camera back at the end of April, which set me up nicely for my summer run. Since I purchased this camera, I have gone ahead and bought a 50mm lens. I've also added another 6x6 back to the kit. I like to be able to change the backs while I'm shooting. Typically, I'll have black and white film loaded in one back, and I'll have color film loaded in another back, and it just gives me a bit of flexibility while I'm on my shoots, and I save time. If you have enjoyed this series, if it gave you hope to go out and flip for your own film cameras, I'm ecstatic. You can also flip for digital cameras, new cameras. They don't have to be old film cameras. You can flip for anything, really. But if you are looking to get a new camera and you don't necessarily want to sell off all of your old cameras to get one camera like I didn't, then this is the best way that I have found to do it. At this point, I don't see another camera on the horizon that I like really gotta have like immediately that's as expensive as this one. Sometimes I think about the Rolleiflex 2.8 F, but I see how much it costs and I say, calm down, Talya. I still think about a Leica lens to put on my Leica M3, but I've got time. It'll come. And knowing that eventually we will all get the things that we work for, that we pursue, it allows you to calm down a little bit so that you're not stressing out, because at the end of the day, it's not the camera that's going to make you the photographer. You are the photographer that's going to make that camera sing or shutter slap or perform. Whatever, man. You make the pictures. You're the artist. The camera's a tool. And no matter what, go out and make photos. Regrets. Were there regrets in what I sold off? A couple. I miss my Yashica A. I miss that camera. It was a lot of fun to shoot that TLR, and I no longer have a TLR in my collection. So if anything, I definitely have my eye out for another TLR situation. It probably will not be the Rolleiflex 2.8 F because it costs so much money. And I just can't justify that right now in my heart. I can get a car. And then I sold off my OM cameras. I'm a huge fan of the Olympus system, like huge. And I kind of missed that camera a little bit, but the truth was I really hadn't been using it because I moved so much more into shooting medium format cameras. I bought the Nikon FE. I got the Leica M3. So I wasn't utilizing the OM system like at all. So I do miss that camera. But life is, like I said, life is funny earlier because one of my subscribers ended up sending me an OM10. So I don't feel such a loss anymore because I get to still shoot an Olympus camera, and I'm definitely going to be making some content surrounding that camera coming up soon because I really have enjoyed using it. But they'll come back around. It's like the owner of Walters always tells me. He tells me that cameras come to you when they're meant to, when they're supposed to. So it's because you sold a camera or a camera broke on you, it doesn't mean that you will never have this camera again. It just means that your time with this camera has come to an end, but it can come back around. So I'm looking forward to the turnaround on both of these systems. And you know what's funny about the OM system? I didn't sell off on my Zucchio lenses. It's like I knew that I would be right back with Olympus later on. So I was like, I'm not going to sell my glass. So in the end, I'm happy with the moves I made to buy my Hasselblad. Nothing felt devastating in the trading or in the selling that I've done. all the cameras in my collection today. I utilize them regularly. So if you're thinking about flipping for a new camera, lens, what have you, let me know in the comments down below. Let me know if you have a game plan in mind, what it's looking like. And make sure to like this video if you enjoyed this flipping for a Hasselblad mini-series. Series seems so strong. Two-parter. If you aren't already, subscribe to the channel because I would love to have you. And I will see you in the next one. All right, everybody. Peace.